Hey, this is Katie, and I just thought we would go through and finish the last parts of our GitHub use. This one's getting into some pretty fun stuff, and that's about saving your customizations, bringing in other people's work, that kind of thing. So let's look at our terminal app and our Finder. We'll bring those up. We'll go to our home. Take a look at where we are. Let me increase the size here so that you guys can see it a little easier. Let us see, change into our loop cloned directory. We can make sure we are in the proper place that we want to be. Yes, this is my Git directory for my online loop repository. And I can just make sure that I am indeed still connected to the right version that I want to be. Yep, I'm still connected in this directory with my online GitHub account for Loop, which is great. I also probably want to double check which branch I'm on. Let's see which branch I'm on by Git branch. Oh, I was doing some work when you guys didn't see, and I was on Alpha branch. So I was busy in Xcode building some stuff before this video started and had some changes in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably take those out. If I open up loop project right now in Xcode, it will give me my files and what I was working on. So that's cool. One of the things you'll notice, and I'll give you a heads up what's gonna happen here, but you see this little M? That stands for modified. That means I changed something in the files that hasn't been recorded properly by Git. And it's merely saving the files. So like if I go up to save, it's not really the same in Xcode as it is when you're working in a Git directory. If I do a Command S, it doesn't really save the same way. What it is called a commit. For Git, a save is like a commit. Or I should say a commit is like a save. But think about it like committing it to memory. And so if you try and exit out of a branch and go to a different branch before you've told it whether or not you want to save those changes, those modifications that have the M, basically my modification is that I changed this from loopkit to dynamic loop, my branch, or my bundle ID. If I try and leave this and go back to, let's say, the master branch, git checkout master, I'm going to get an error message. And the error message it tells me is I have basically changes in here that I haven't told the program what to do with. It's saying, do you want to keep them? If you want to keep them, you have to commit them. If you don't want to keep them, you have to stash them. And so these particular ones, I don't really want to save right now. I just want to get rid of them. And so what I can do is I can come here and I say git stash, and that means get rid of them, stash them somewhere else, make them go away. And bam, look what happened. The M's went away, it went back to loopkit, it got rid of all of the modifications that I hadn't committed to memory. So if instead I had decided I wanted to save those changes, I would have done a commit message. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So I'm still on my alpha branch. Let me change it over to my dev branch. Actually, let's do this on a whole new branch. I'm going to show you how to get a new branch going. So let's say I'm going to do a branch that is based on my dev branch. It's going to be an exact clone of my dev branch, and I'm going to call it video example. And it's going to make an exact copy of my dev branch as it is right now, but it's going to call the new branch video example. So if I go over here to my Git repository local, my local computer side, and I say git pull, it's going to go over to my GitHub account and say, what's changed? Has anything changed? It says, yeah, Katie added a new branch and it's called video example. Ooh, cool. I want to go over and check out that new branch. I'm going to go check out video example. Sweet, I'm now on video example. So if I go to video example and I open it up, let's say I want to make some customizations. Maybe I want to change my peak insulin time to 75 minutes. Awesome. And maybe I want to change my dose math to have neutral temp basals set. So I'm going to set neutral temp basals. So these are all customizations that you can do. They're in the loop docs. When you build, you can customize those. So I can see that these have been modified. That's cool. If I press Command S, it saves the project, but it doesn't commit these modifications to my Git repository. It hasn't saved them. So I can see that they're modified with this M, but not totally committed. So how would I do that? Committing basically saves them into the Git history. It's the tracking mechanism for all changes. So I can go up to source control. The cool thing is Git commands that you typically do in your terminal. A lot of those same Git commands are actually written into Xcode to be a little easier. You can go up to source control, commit, and you can say, look, there's the two files I changed. If you click on the file, you can see exactly what was changed. On the right is the original, on the left is what I changed. And same here, on the right is the original, on the left is how I changed it. If I try and commit that to memory, I'll get an error message and it says I need to put a commit message in. Okay, I need to tell it what I did. Peak time and neutral temps. So if I did this now and committed it, it would save the memory, save these changes, commit them as a record, an exact change of what was done, and it'll show exactly which lines were changed on my local computer, but it doesn't make it back up to my online Git account. That's called a push. So a commit goes to your local here, usually if you're on your local working, and a push will push it up to your GitHub repository, your remote one, online. So I'm going to do both at once. I'm going to write them as a commit to my local, and then I'm also telling it to take those local changes and push it back up to my online account. So I do that. My M's disappear because now they're committed to memory. Everything's updated over here. And also online, my video example now has a new commit, and it'll show me exactly which lines changed on what files. The green means that's what it is now. The red means that's what was changed. So I can see exactly what each of those commits were. And that's why Git is so powerful, is it's telling you exactly what lines, what code, who did it, when, and it's very specific. So it's not like just saving the whole project over. It's committing exactly which lines changed and how. So that's just an overview. I have done some recent commits to specialize and customize my loop compared to what the default loop settings are, beyond what the customizations in the loop docs talk about. I've done some pull requests to the main loop branch, for example. I can look, these are the pull requests. Some of my customizations I think other people might want. I have not coded these. I've had the wonderful help of other people who are smarter than me to do some code work to get these requests done. They may not be up to standards of the developers, and so these are sitting there waiting for feedback from Pete or whoever about how they could be better. For example, these use loop settings to update Night Scout profiles. So this one basically is a feature that I think would be cool, is that if your loop settings change on your loop app, like you change your basal rate or you change your ISF or carb ratios, that this automatically updates your loop profile or your Night Scout profile over here to match. So these get updated automatically, which would be really cool. And it works. And I think it's really, really neat. So I put that request in here. Now, I didn't develop this code. Like I said, I found it on somebody else's repository, and they hadn't submitted it yet in that form. So I submitted it and tagged that person. I said, I'm borrowing from this person to get what I want. Well, that person wrote back and said, hey, by the way, part of that has been addressed over on settings table view controller line 72. You could change that up. So that's a good feedback. After I submitted the pull request, somebody said you should make some changes. So I can actually go and take this suggestion and make an update to my Night Scout profile update. I can do that one of two ways. I can go there directly, or I can do it on my terminal app here. If I'm going to do it here, I need to check out that branch, Night Scout profile update. I've now switched to there, and it's in the settings table view controller. So let's go to that part. I'll move this over here. Loop. View controllers. Settings table view controller, line 72. And he's saying this note can be taken out because it does check. So I can check that out. And I can save, let's commit this change. Removed to do per removed it. I'm going to push it back up there. I'm going to commit it. And because it updated my local, but it also updates my version that was sitting on here. And now you can see that actually that file is no longer going to be a problem. It's gone. So by updating my repository, it updates any PRs that I have outstanding. It's all done, and I can leave a message back on this conversation and say, thanks, fixed the note. So I can comment and it's there. So that's one of the things you can do. Any PRs that you have on branches that are actively open, any changes you have to those files in that repository will still be there. So while you have a pull request pending, try not to change this branch unintentionally. You keep it clean. That's why people do separate branches. So getting back to that, I have some customizations that I really liked, and I put them all together into a branch that I build with now. I don't build with a standard branch, I'm building with a customized branch. And I'll tell you, my customized branch that I'm using is called Alpha. That's what I'm using, and only because I'm doing this video, I'll explain to you what some of my branches are. But these are the customizations that my Alpha branch has. Remote temp targets are read and implemented from Night Scout, automatic updating of the profile. It has 3 basal profiles to select from. I changed my bolus guard, I changed all these things. So you could, if you wanted to, you could go here and you could download a zip of my Alpha branch, and you too could build with all of that if you wanted to. Or you could grab my branch. For example, what I wanted to do is I wanted to grab Trixie's branch and learn from it. Let's say, for example, I could do that command. I'm going to go over here, and I could do git fetch HTTPS. Let's say you have another loop developer that you're working with. In this case, the Trixing guy that did that code. Forgot the GitHub. Let me put that back in there. That's his repository for his Git, and he has his in his dev branch, and I'm going to call it Eric features. Oops, excuse me. I must have spelled his name wrong. Or I did this wrong. There we go. Got that right this time. So what I'm doing is I am now pulling in his dev branch. So Eric had these really cool features that I found when I was looking at the issues over on his. He has customizations for his branch. Maybe I want to check them out and pull and pick, do something, but I want a branch over in mine to build from and play with. I can do that. I can pull it in. I now have a branch called that. I can push, everything's up to date. I can go over to mine and I can see my branches. I have not pushed his branch over, but if I want to, in order to get pushed, you'll notice it's a little bit more complicated. You have to use this command. And basically, you're going to, if I want to see his features, I can go to his branch and I can push it back up to my repository. And this will be pushing his branch up into my repository. As soon as it's done, I'll pause the video so that we can not wait. Okay, I'm back. So you can see it finished, it got them all up, and now I have a branch called Eric Features, which I could play around with. I can see what his commit history was. I can go and look at it, see all the work he's done. He has quite a bit of work, which was very interesting. And so basically using Git commands, using Xcode to commit things to history and push and pull really will help you. I have a cheat sheet which will help you get there. I have put all of this on my wiki page on my repository, so if you want to go there, you can check it out. The Git commands is a download. I'm hosting it up there. Loop branches, if you are interested in trying to play around with commits and how code moves or do anything else, you can take a look at it. Just putting it out there. All right, take care, guys.